Hi folks, I'm doing a dev video. I want to talk about Mega Satan and what I've learned from Mega Satan and how I'm going to apply that to Slime Daddy, which is the next boss. Uh, Also, I'm lying on the floor because I roofed my roof. I shingled my roof, and that involved a couple of days of being bent over, a couple of days of tarping it, and then a couple more days of being bent over. So my lower back is fucked, and I'm sucking pain pills. And so I'm doing this video lying flat on my floor. Oh God, so much pain. But I've been propping myself up in coding, so that's okay. I'm not concentrating incredibly well, but gotta get shit done. You know how it goes. So yeah. So Mega Satan. So Mega Satan's taking longer than I wanted. The Pope in ESJ1 took 4 weeks. So I wasn't totally flabbergasted when Mega Satan took multiple weeks. You know, bosses take a lot of effort. They're kind of like mini games where they have a lot of custom coded stuff, so it's unique, which is good because that's part of it being unique, being a climax, being a peak, a special event in the game, right? That makes sense. However, Mega Satan's taking longer than I want. Part of it was that my roof leaked, and part of it was that I got married, and so it's been a busy month, and stuff's been distracting me. But also part of it is that it's not moving, and so this is normal for a lot of ESJ2 bosses. The Pope was in one screen, the Christmas DLC was in one screen. The Wizard had part of its battle, but the other thing I do, of course, is I do the chase battle. Now, everybody who's played platformers will know that this is a classic type of boss. Gish and Super Meat Boy do this really well. Basically, this is because platformers, especially the platformers without weapons, so we're not talking about Cave Story, we're not talking about Mario even, because Mario tends to use fireballs to beat some of the advanced bosses and so on. They have to have motion-based gameplay, right? So you have a lot of monster that is covered in spikes or saws or goop or whatever is chasing you, because that allows you to use movement. So Mega Satan's been taking a long time because there's zero gameplay. Standing in a room is not fun. So I need to, from scratch, from raw firmament, make a fun encounter. And in doing so, it takes a lot of coding and thus a lot of time. And also cutscenes just take a lot of time. They give sort of very little, so I try and avoid cutscenes if I can, or any sort of timed event, or thing comes out and then explodes. It takes hours to make, and it's seconds of gameplay. Whereas I can spend hours on a level, and it's at least minutes of gameplay. This is the thing with being indie, right? You got to sort of weigh your time. You're not 400 people in a studio. So with Slime Daddy, I was going to have a climatic battle scene that was similar, that happened in one level, where you give Slime Daddy throws baseballs at you and you catch them, and then also he gives you high fives and you have to give him high fives back. And that's you spending time with your new dad. I'm going to do that on the run, I think. I'm going to have a level where you move through it, and Slime Daddy sort of hovers at the front, giant eyeball tentacles, and throws baseballs at you, and you have to catch them in the level, and then also you have to come up to the front by the camera and high-five him, and then you have to go back and catch another ball, and so on. And so I think that's how I'm going to go, and it will make the development time shorter, I hope, and the level just as fun, because it's going to be fun. Like, I'll be able to have a gap, right? I'll be able to have a gap that you can jump over, and then I'll have another gap that's wider, and there'll be a bounce pad, and you'll have to bounce off it. And so that moving through the level will implicitly be fun, using the mechanics of Electronic Superjoy. And then on top of that, I'll put the Slime Daddy yelling and throwing stuff and, making funny comments and so on. And the thing that's holding me up with Mega Satan is it's just I have to create every tiny second of experience from scratch. I'm essentially making another game for you to play, because you don't use any of the things, or very little of the things, that you use in the rest of the game, which is moving and jumping, right? So this is also sort of the problem I had with the Santa Claus, although Santa Claus is focused on getting away from missiles mostly and avoiding stuff, so the air sword kind of worked well for that. The other thing is I'm not sure of the order. I decided earlier that I don't care about all the order stuff I've done so far. I'm going to make all 3 bosses. Then I'm going to line them up: best boss, medium boss. So that's actually unfair. I think I'm going to make all 3 bosses, and then I'm going to decide the order, and then I'm going to write a story that makes sense for that. and then I'm going to arrange all the levels so they make sense for that, and then I'm going to redecorate all the levels. The reasoning for this is some boss gameplays are easier for a newbie, and some boss gameplays require insane reflexes, and that's much better for it to be the final boss, right? Like, the air sword mechanics of Santa Claus, I actually had problems because it was both the first boss, but it was also the air sword is such a high speed weapon, right? It's such a high speed ability that advanced players can do amazing things with. And so with Santa Claus, I could have like thrown out some amazing challenges where, hey, there's no ground, you have to stay up in the air entirely using the air sword. Whereas a beginner player, that's unfair to ask them that, right? That's too much as a first boss. So I kind of want to pick whichever boss I find turned out best, and I want to put that one first. And I also want to pick whichever boss turned out to be like the easiest and or the creamiest, like, you know, the boss that is the most just fun to kick the shit out of, and put that one first, because I think that should be the first experience of players fighting a boss, right? And then the one that has the most potential with abilities to be insanely hard, but in a fun way that an advanced player will kick its ass. That one needs to be at the end. And so the thing is as I'm building Mega Satan, I'm realizing I really like Mega Satan. I don't want Mega Satan to be the last boss, because it's actually, it's double jump and stomp, which is a pretty basic set of abilities that the player knows. In fact, if you're coming from ESJ1, you already know those. So I kind of think Mega Satan might end up being the first boss, which is crazy. But I'm going to build all three bosses, figure it out from there. The good news is it doesn't take very much time and effort for me to switch backgrounds in levels, and especially the ones that are tied to music. That's okay. I can find another level that has the same rhythm as the music, and I can do stuff like that. And I can also switch which beat the background bounces on, because if the hard part is programming the background to bounce, not which song it specifically bounces to. So some of that's untrue. Some of that, you know, like, it will take effort, but I think it'll probably be worth it to have everything. Like, I want to go through all the levels and balance them based on difficulty, creaminess, and easiness, and then make the background and the music sort of work on top of that. Because that wouldn't be possible from the beginning, because now I have a bunch of pieces of music and visual effects and level stuff that work together, and then it doesn't really matter where they are in the game. And there'll be a couple of levels where the music and the rhythm of the level and the background effects are just immovable. They're too interlocked. And that's okay. I'll just figure out where those levels go and put them there. Cool. That's my dev video. I'm going to be sucking down pain pills and hopefully propping myself up in coding. Thank you very much for supporting this game. As always, we're nearing the final stretch. Once the bosses are done, that's everything. We just need to polish and add features and, menus and bug fixes and so on. I'm sort of slipping. Sorry, I'm going to tack on one more minute to this dev video. I originally said the game was going to come out in June or August. Hey, look! Winter's coming! I want to finish the game as quickly as possible. For one thing is, from a financial standpoint, just because I have to run my business as a business, the game will make kind of the same amount of money regardless of how long I take, to some degree. So me spending 3 years on this takes all the rent and bills I had to pay and then subtracts that from the profit. So if it's going to make $10,000, I'd rather make $10,000 in 6 months than $10,000 in 3 years, right? Because $10,000 in 3 years is, illegally low minimum wage. There's also just, I love this game, but I want it to be done. I want people to play it. I want it to come out. Now the good news is I can't come out before December because the market and Steam and so on is just flooded with new games that are all trying to come out for the Christmas season. So fuck that. So we're coming out next spring. So I got a lot of time, actually, in one sense. But what I'd really like is for the game to be done this side of Christmas. I was hoping for September, then I was hoping for October. Now it's nearing the end of October. Partially I'm laid up with my back hurting, so I'm kind of frustrated at my lack of productivity. So that's kind of why this is in my head. But I'm basically going to finish the 2 bosses quickly as possible. That's the 100%. Nothing's distracting me at this point. At this point, we are going to cut features. At this point, we are cutting until the game is done. This is the vicious last month or 2 of the game. Because at some point, fuck it, we're finishing the game. That's game dev. That's going to happen. Now, hopefully, it doesn't look like I'm going to need to cut any features that I really care about, which is which is a miracle when it comes to game dev, because I almost always have to. That's the reality. Like ESJ1 had so many features and things I wanted to add that just didn't get in. And it's hard to tell as a fan because you can't see what wasn't there, right? I should still have secrets. I should still have a secret boss. I really care about those. I'll definitely have some form of level editor, although that I'm working on afterwards, so that's okay to let live for a little bit. I'll definitely have online leaderboards for everything and a variety of daily challenges and stuff. But all that's going to happen after the game is over, after the game is launched. So, or not launched, sorry, done. And then it will launch next spring, but people who back the Patreon and so on will be able to play the finished game before Christmas. Also, in 2 weeks, there's update 69, which, as GD Colin pointed out, we're definitely going to have to do something special for. So I'm aiming to have Mega Satan really nice and done and polished and up for update 69. I'm also working on a level for Seb, which has snakes that walk around that say Seb, Seb, Seb. And then there's going to be a big snake that says, I am Seb-ah-roth, and fires missiles. So that should be fun. All right, that's the dev video. I've prattled on for long enough. Thank you very much for supporting this game, and as always, thank you for supporting me. I love doing this work, and you guys make it possible. Thank you very much. Thanks, folks.